Hey everyone, Kyle here. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain a little bit. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and so much more. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.fm. They'll have everything you need all in one place. I can speak from my experience. It's been awesome so far and super easy. So go check it out, guys, and we'll see you later. All right, we're on there. All right, welcome everyone. This is Our Travel Experiences. I'm Kyle Rasmussen. This is episode 2. And today I got with me Sarah. Sarah, how's it going?
Good.
Good. I'm glad you're here. Super excited to talk about travel with you. I know we've talked a lot about travel in the past as we've, sat there and drank our wine and hung out. So now we're doing it for the world to hear.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, first, I wanted to ask you, so before we hopped on the podcast here, we were talking about traveling with kids. So you have a couple kids. And
3 to be exact.
3 kids, okay. What's it been like traveling with them? I guess first, how old are they?
So right now I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old.
Okay. Wow.
Traveling with them has never really been easy for me because I haven't done it much. But I'm getting better, and I've done it more and more, and I'm going to do it again here in January. Me and the baby are going to go down to Arizona. So I'm feeling pretty confident about this next flight with Carmen. So
Okay, cool. So where have you gone with the kids?
Our first trip was to Hawaii with the 2 oldest. Carmen wasn't here yet, and the kids did actually really, really good. I was really proud of them. My middle child did throw up on the way home on the airplane, but it was a pretty rocky ride there. But they did so good on the airplane. They watched their movies. They had snacks. They listened in the airport. They stood really close, so I can't really complain about them. I was just stressed out about losing them or, taking care of them, making sure that they had all their needs met in a crazy busy airport and on the plane and stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm sure, especially in the airports, just kind of making sure that they're safe and got everything you need, trying to get through security. I'm sure that's got to be a stressful experience.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think that they were kind of scared too. It was both of their first times in an airport on an airplane, so they were really good about staying close, staying together, staying with either mom or dad, or So I was really proud of them, but just my mama bear mode was on. Like high alert, but
Are they hooked on traveling now?
Chloe loves it. Chloe loves it. She loves to say that she got to be on an airplane. She loves to say she got to go to this place or the other place or whatever. So Chloe really, really likes it. She's my oldest. She's my 8-year-old. So, I would say she's hooked for sure.
Yeah.
Jarrett, my middle one, I don't even think he remembers the plane ride, to be honest with you. He was only 4 at the time. No, he was only 3, maybe. I think he was only 3. So he doesn't really remember, but Chloe sure does. So
yeah, that's so fun. I remember when I was a kid, some of the best memories that I have were flying on airplanes, were traveling with the family, going on road trips to different places. That definitely got me hooked on traveling from a young age. So that's cool to see that Chloe's hooked on that now.
Yeah, well, my first time on an airplane, I think I was like in my 20s. No, that's a lie. I was like 14.
Okay.
I think it was. I was 14, but we would only go on road trips, and now I freaking hate going on road trips. I hate driving. I hate being in the car. We've been talking about going up to Vancouver Island. We have a friend up there, but we'd have to drive, and it's like a 9-hour trip to drive. There's a 2-hour ferry, and then you have to drive another hour after that to get to our friend's house. And I was like,
wow.
No, I don't think I want to be in the car for that long. No thanks. So if we were to go, we would have to go for like a week just for my sake and the kids' sake, because I wouldn't want to do it. That's too much being in the car, too much being confined. So
have you gone on road trips with the kids as well?
Not too far. The farthest we've been is like over to the coast, so like a 4.5, 5 hour drive, which is like a max. Because Jarrett gets so car sick. Like, he'll be in the car, if he's in the car for more than like 45 minutes, he usually throws up. Yeah. So, and then it's such a windy road to get over to the beach. Like, we just have to pop Dramamine like it's candy with him, because if not, he's just miserable. And then I'm miserable because I have to clean everything up, and the car stinks, and he stinks. It's just... Yeah. So, we try to avoid car trips for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's a good tip for all the listeners. Give your kids Dramamine.
Yeah.
Make the trips a lot better.
And, you know, I have been saying this for about a year now. I need to start keeping those, like, little blue throw-up bags, like, from the hospital. Yeah. I need to keep a couple in my car for when he does feel sick. Then I can just say, okay, here, throw up into here. You know what I mean? And so I can get pulled over so you don't throw up all over yourself, all over the car. Yeah. So that, I feel like, is a good thing to have on hand, are those little throw-up bags. So
yeah, definitely. So I know you mentioned, a few different things already, but what are some of the main challenges that you found traveling with kids, and what are some of the great things you found from it?
Well, definitely the hardest thing is packing everything around. So I took Chloe and Carmen down to Arizona. We flew, and it was just me. And yes, Chloe can pull her own suitcase and stuff like that, but I only have 2 arms, and I still had to carry Carmelita at that time. And I did put her in a pack, which was the best idea ever to keep her confined. But still carrying 97 different bags of everything. And then, I didn't want to bring a pack and play, because I would have one more thing I have to carry. I didn't bring a stroller because it's just one more thing I'd have to carry. So I had to find all of those when I was down in Arizona, which thankfully I have cousins and friends down there that they have little babies and stuff that I could just borrow the stuff. But just juggling all of the things that you have to pack for children. Yeah. And making sure that certain things are readily available. Like, I can just grab a diaper. I don't have to dig through a suitcase, or grab a snack so I don't have to go buy one, or, again, dig through something, and make sure everybody has their water and their juice or snacks. Like, they're warm enough. Like, it's just a lot. There's a big long checklist for sure. Well,
shoot, it's sometimes hard to pack for just yourself.
Just one person, right?
Let alone all the kids too.
Yeah, and they can't help you really. They don't know what to pack, what they're gonna need. They don't think that way. So it was hard. That was the hard part, was packing everything, all the things. But
it seems like with kids especially, there's so much more coordination that you have.
Absolutely, for sure. And trying to time which is the best flight for naps, and so they'll sleep, and different things like that too.
Trying to be a logistics expert.
Yeah, I highly recommend layovers though with little ones, so that they can get out and stretch their legs. I would say, like, over the age of 2, I highly recommend layovers. With infants, a straight shot, just get there. Hopefully they sleep the whole time on the plane. That's great. But once they can start walking and running, like, give them a little break in between to stretch their legs before they have to be confined.
So I know, like, especially going to a place like Hawaii. I mean, that's a 5-6
hours. Yeah,
that's a long time for a kid to be cooped up.
That's a long time for me to be cooped up, let alone a kid, and especially one that has to sit on my lap the whole time, or whatever. But yeah, for sure.
They can't even drink wine either.
No, I know. Oh, but that is one thing that I do recommend, is to upgrade your seat to, like, the premium if you're flying Alaska Air. It's like, what, $50, $100, whatever, and you get to drink for free, and you get the more leg room, and it's just worth it. It's so worth it for the kids, for me. They always have to go to the bathroom. Try and get an aisle seat so you don't have to crawl over everybody if they're sleeping or eating or drinking or whatever. So, yeah, definitely. But I mean, if you have a kid that's going to listen to you and is pretty well behaved, like, you'll be fine in the airport. Hold my hand, stay close, make sure you can always see me. If you can't see me, I can't see you, type thing. And so it's really not as bad. But that first time traveling is actually really scary with kids.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I know every time I see parents in the airports with their little infants or, young kids. I'm like, oh man, it's got to be so much work.
There was one time, I think it was this last time when we got back from Arizona. I'm not 100% sure on that or not, but there was this mom and she had 5 kids, and they all had to be under the age of 10, all of them. They were little, and there was one, that was like throwing a fit, and she's standing in line waiting for food to feed them, and so I bought a box of donuts, and I was like, hey, will you give these to this mom back here with all these kids, and tell her she's doing a good job. Don't tell her, it was for me or whatever, but just hopefully it'll keep the kids, occupied for a little bit, and they can have a little sugar or whatever, and hopefully they'll sit still for her for just a few minutes, because you could tell, she was just exhausted. She didn't seem like she was, super stressed out, but she was definitely okay, we're almost done. You could just see it on her face, but her older kids were doing really, really good, and they were helping out with the littles and stuff, so I just was she needs to know that she's doing the best she can, and she's doing a good job. You only got one throwing a temper tantrum, and it could be 5. So, anyways, but
I think that's a good. That's really cool that you did that. I think all of us who don't have kids with us when we're traveling, or just in general, should be a little bit more understanding and patient with parents that have young kids around.
Absolutely.
Because especially if they're going on vacation, the vacation is almost more work.
Absolutely.
Than our normal lives.
If you're taking kids, it's not a vacation, it's a trip.
Yeah.
That's what we say in my house is if you take kids, it's not a vacation.
Yeah. I know, a lot of people get upset about, babies crying on planes and stuff like that, but there's just nothing you can do there, and you just gotta understand. The parent probably doesn't want to be dealing with that either. So
no, for sure, and that was my big fear. Oh my gosh, what if Carmen just screams the whole time? And my cousin was like, "So what? If she screams the whole time, it's nothing. There's nothing you can do about it. If you try and give her a passy, her ears probably hurt from the altitude change. You and I can know that we need to chew gum or something, and we can deal with it. But she doesn't know what's happening. So if she's screaming, she's screaming. There's nothing you can do about it. And if those people hate you, then those people hate you. You're never going to see them again.
Yeah.
So who cares? So that was really nice of her to tell me that, because I was like, I guess you're right. I can't control it. I can do my best, but
yeah, just is what it is.
It is. Absolutely it is.
So I don't think we answered the rewarding moments. What has been some of the best experiences with kids?
Not really. Not really any. Just this last summer, taking my 8-year-old. She was 7 at that time. Just what a big helper she was with with the baby and carrying things and doing her best and staying occupied on the plane or sleeping or whatever it was. She was a trooper, so that was pretty rewarding. That I was like, dang, you're growing up. I'll take you places more often. But other than that, there's really no rewarding moments with traveling with kids. So I guess
might be rewarding to see them experience whatever place you're in.
For sure, and she had a really good time down in Arizona with our friends and stuff, so that was good, I guess.
Cool. Any other tips or advice you have for parents that are traveling with kids maybe for the first time?
Kind of just what I said, have stuff that you're gonna need, snacks and diapers and milk, water, juice, whatever, and spill-proof containers for sure, spill-proof. Have them at the top of your bag, and whatever you can buy where you're going, that's what I would do. I would take 5 diapers, or however many you think you're gonna need for your 3, 4, 5, 8-hour flight, whatever it is, day of travel. And then when you get where you're going, just run to a Walmart or a Safeway or whatever and just buy a bag of diapers. I was lucky enough that I didn't have to pack a pack and play for Carmen to sleep in. But you just check that stuff, you know what I mean? I was like, I just want to have everything with me on the plane just in case. And actually turned out that the flight was pretty full, so they were like, oh, we'll check your bags and stuff for free. And so I had to check the car seat anyways. And so I just ended up checking everything except for our carry-ons, and that was the best move ever.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to worry about we stopped in Seattle. We flew out of Pasco into Seattle, and I didn't have to worry about our luggage, getting it off the top rack of the airplane there, especially carrying an infant on my front. I had her in that little pack thing, and I wouldn't have been able to do it. And I do remember flying home. I had to have somebody put my bag up there for me and get it back down for me because I just could not do it with her on my front. And I didn't want to unbuckle her and put her in a seat because she would have just ran off, and it was better to have her just confined the whole time to my chest. But yeah, and entertainment for them I think is important. And I did actually end up giving Carmen some Benadryl before we went. The doctor did say it would help with her ears, and then hopefully it would put her to sleep. And so she did sleep on the plane for the most part. But if you're okay with, giving your kids just a little bit of Benadryl, I did it. I think I gave her like 2 milliliters or something small, but, and she never cried about her ears hurting or anything like that. She never indicated.
That's good.
So I'm going to say that it helped, but
I know sometimes, even for me, it can be extremely painful when your ears get plugged up or pop or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember recently there was one time, it was a couple months ago. I can't remember where I was coming from. I was coming back to Washington State here, and man, my ear just was one of the most painful experiences I've had in a long time.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't know what the deal was, but it was rough, and so I can't imagine for kids, especially who don't know what's happening, don't know
and they
why
can't
that's
communicate
happening.
to you what's happening or what's hurting or whatever at that time. So
going back to the luggage really quick. I don't have kids, so I can't really speak to this, but from what I've observed in my travels is that if you can check your bags, especially if you can check them for free, is definitely the way to go, because then all you have to worry about is carrying the kid.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of hauling your luggage around.
The only downside to that, though, is if, you have to wait for your luggage. You know what I mean? So when my husband and I were flying back from Miami in October, we had caught some fish on our boat, and so we had to buy a cooler and, package the fish and check that bag. And we had to stand in line for close to 2 hours in order to check the bag. We did have to pay for it, whatever, I think it was like $30. And then when we landed in Seattle, Washington, we had to wait for another 45 minutes, which is uncharacteristic of Alaska, but still it happens. And so that was the worst part, was we were absolutely exhausted and standing there waiting for this stupid fish. We didn't have to check any other bags. We just had, each one of us had a carry-on. So we had that luggage. And so then just waiting around for that stupid cooler, we were like, how bad do we want this mahi-mahi?
Yeah. I wonder, do you think it probably took longer because it was fish and not a suitcase?
No, everybody. The whole entire plane was waiting. Wow. But it was a super full plane. They were asking people, they were like, if you don't get on this flight, we'll put you in a hotel room tonight and you can fly out. I think they had to wait till Monday, though. And we flew out on a Saturday. Oh, wow. But we'll put you in a hotel room and you'll get 750 points, miles, or something, to compensate you and whatever. And it was just a super full flight. And I think that's kind of why they just had a bunch of luggage that they had to get on and off the planes. So,
I've noticed that recently. I think airlines have kind of got crunched in a way because of the COVID pandemic. They took away some flights, and then now people are traveling again, and so there's not as many flights for all the people. And so I've noticed, at least on the last few flights I've been on, they've asked for people to take a different flight, and they'll give them some sort of credit or whatever.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. I hope they can resolve that problem.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you don't want any travelers being unhappy on your flights.
Yeah, and everybody was unhappy on our last flight from Miami to Seattle. There were so many complaints. So, but it is what it is. Yeah, for sure. They're doing the best that they can. Me and my husband, we didn't complain to anybody. We just were like, it was kind of shitty, but it's not like we're like, we're never gonna fly Alaska again. It happens, and we don't travel that often, and that's never ever happened to us before. So it is what it is, but it did just suck. We didn't fly in until 11:30, and then at night, and then wait around for another 45 minutes to an hour before we even got back to our car, and then we still had to drive 2.5 hours home. So it was just a really long night, really long day of traveling, but it is what it is.
Yep, that's for sure. So you said you went to Miami. How was that?
It was
all
great.
The way across the country?
Yeah, we went kidless though, so that's probably why it was so great. Yeah, because we could sit in the bar at the airport and just drink, and we got to just drink on the flight, and we could take naps while we were there in Miami. We didn't have to worry about anybody else, taking care of anybody else. It was just me and my husband, so it was really nice to travel without kids. We've never actually flown. Oh, that's a lie. We did fly to LA one time, but that was many, many years ago. But other than that, we don't go anywhere without our kids. So
yeah, I'm curious. What was it like, having flown with the kids and obviously being around them all the time, and then taking this trip without them and being separated for a week or however long it was? What was that experience like?
So I'm just gonna say, like, my husband gets sick too, so we made it in to pass the security, and he went and ran to the trash can and threw up because he was so nervous because they stopped his bag because I forgot that there was a bottle of Desitin in there from the last time that I had traveled, and so they had to search his bag. So of course he's freaking out. It's not like we were carrying anything we shouldn't have been, but he still just like panicked, and he just, as soon as they got done talking to him, he just took off to the trash can. And I had these people walk by. They were security, and he was like, "Did you lose somebody?" I was like, "Oh no, he's over there throwing up in the trash can." And he turns and he's like, "Moms are always taking care of somebody." And I was like, "How did you know I was a mom?" Like, yeah, you're right. I'm always taking care of somebody. So it was kind of funny, but
I totally get that. It's always so nerve-wracking going through security, even though like I'm not doing anything wrong, like I don't have anything bad with me, but it's just always nerve-wracking. Like, what are they gonna do to me?
Yeah. For sure. Well, I mean, I don't feel that way. I'm just like, okay, I made sure I packed my own bag. I know that there's nothing in here, so I'm not ever that worried, but whatever. Usually I have a couple cocktails in me, too, by that time.
That always helps.
But, no, but then leaving the kids for a week, it was really hard. Like that first, so we drove from Yakima to Seattle and stayed the night because we had an early flight out of Seattle. And that first night, I was like, I couldn't sleep. I was just thinking, man, I already missed my baby. Like, I've never been away from my oldest for this long. And so it was a little hard. But once we got down to Miami and we got into, like, going to the beach and, walking along the boardwalk and stuff like that, it was fine. I FaceTimed them pretty much every single day, though, and talked to them every single day. But it was okay. It was good. It was, like I said, it was nice to just go and sit in the bar and have a couple cocktails before we got on the plane, and I could order a cocktail on the plane and not have to worry about juggling a baby on my lap and this, that, and the other. So when I flew to Arizona with my youngest and my oldest, we sat down to get something to eat, and I did walk up to the bar and I got a glass of wine, I remember. And the people were so nice around us. I think we were at SeaTac, and it was busy. It's always a busy airport, but we ordered food and it wasn't ready like right away, so we got a ticket and waiting for our number to be called, and they finally did call it, and there were these guys, just kind of the table next to us, and he was like, "Oh, it's fine, you can go, I'll keep an eye on your kids." And I'm like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, I'm not gonna trust you to watch my kids, And I was like, "Oh no, it's okay, like I'm just gonna take them," but I did end up leaving our luggage. And the guy was like, "Oh, it's fine. Like, I'll just keep an eye on it for you, And then the next ticket, I think we got ordered from 2 different places. So the next ticket got called, and he was like, "I'll go get it for you." The guy was like, "I'll go get your food for you, so you don't have to leave the kids." And I was like, "Thanks." And I ended up talking to them, and they were really nice guys. They were law enforcement in New York, and anyways, they were just cool dudes. They were really nice. It was really nice of them to offer that. And then there was another family with like a mom, a dad, grandpa, and grandma, and then a little kid. And he also, that grandpa was also like keeping an eye on the kids and my stuff for me and stuff. So it was really nice to have like, strangers can be so kind sometimes. And it was really nice to have come across some people like that are willing to... Because it takes a village to raise a kid. Like, you can't do shit on your own. Like, so it was just pretty cool. But, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, in your travels, have you experienced that most people are pretty friendly, or?
Yeah, especially if you have kids, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you might come across a couple people that are like, shut that baby up, or, whatever, but
There's always a few of them.
always, yeah, you can't avoid that. So, but for the most part, like, I've seen other moms travel, and, there was one time we were sitting on a plane, and this mom had, she was probably like 9 or 10 months old, baby, and the flight attendant was carrying the baby down the aisle for the mom, because the mom had the stroller and the car seat and the diaper bag and then her luggage and all this stuff, and so the flight attendant's just carrying the baby, and I mean, I was like, that's so awesome. Like, that's so kind of you. Like, I don't know. I just remember, like, my heart, like, felt really full seeing that, because if that flight attendant would have done that for me, like, I would have just been like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for noticing that. Yeah, I could use an extra set of arms.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's nice when you come across people like that. So
yeah, definitely. I think we could all be a little kinder to each
for
other.
For sure. I know.
I have to ask, have you traveled with the kids during COVID at all?
Yes.
What's that experience been like?
It's fine. I mean, they just have to wear their masks, and which they wear them at school all day long anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. I've only traveled with Chloe, my oldest, I guess, and Carmen this last summer, which, we were in full swing of COVID, so, but it was fine. And, like I said, a lot of the flight attendants and the people in the airport, like, if they see a kid that have the mask under their nose, like, they don't say anything. If it was an adult, they would be like, okay, well, can you please put your mask up, or whatever they do. But they're really nice about it, and I don't mind following the rules, and neither does Chloe, so it's really not that big of a deal. Not that big of a game changer, and nobody got sick from the airplane. Nobody, whatever. We're fine.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
Yeah, I don't think that it was that big of a deal personally. But
okay, good. Yeah, I know you see those videos of the families getting kicked off the planes because the kid won't wear the mask.
Oh, jeez.
Can't imagine that.
No. No.
But I think again, most people, flight attendants, companies are going to be pretty, nice and friendly to you, and obviously understanding. But again, there's always a few that aren't.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So,
for sure. Wow.
Yeah. So, kind of shifting gears a little bit, what has been your favorite travel experience?
I'm gonna have to say Miami, just our most recent one. The plane ride was, like I said, a little bit longer. 6 hours is like a long time for me, and that's what it was. But again, we upgraded our seats, so we got to drink for free, and we got some snacks, and then we had extra leg rooms on the way down there. And then on the way back, we didn't upgrade the seats because it was a super late flight, and we had to drive home from Yakima, so we figured we wouldn't be drinking much anyways. And there's just such a huge difference, the seats and the space. But it was just nice to go with just my husband and I. So yeah, I'm going to just have to say Miami. It was nice, warm weather. It wasn't super hot. It wasn't super humid. It did rain a couple of days, though, the last 2 days we were there. But other than that, it was just...
Yeah, what time of year was that?
It was in October.
Okay.
Yeah. Right in the middle of October, so...
Yeah. I would guess, I don't know much about Florida, but I would assume that like October through the rest of the winter is probably a good time to be there.
Yeah, so it's not like blistering hot. It was still in the low 80s, high 70s, which is perfect for us.
Yes, it's pretty nice, especially compared to where you're coming from, and it's
and then
30 and snowing. And
the people down there, that we visited some friends down there, and she was like wearing a sweater all the time, and she was like freezing. She had the heater on in her car, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
She's like, it's cold, it's wintertime down here, and I'm like, girl, it's like 80 degrees, it's like 75, whatever, and she was like, oh no, nobody gets in the water this time of year, not if you're like live down here, it's too cold. And I was like, I don't feel like it's cold at all. Yeah. You obviously haven't put your toes in the ocean up here on,
Yeah, it's amazing how your body adjusts to your environment. I remember, living in San Diego for 4 years, I definitely felt the cold a lot more coming home in the wintertime. It was just so much colder than when I lived here before, because I was used to 75 and sunny every day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
No, I totally understand it. It's funny though when you see someone complaining about it being 80 degrees out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. But
I'll pause it. All right, we're back here. Thanks for filling up the wine here.
oh yeah.
Glad we could drink some wine and do
This
this.
is what I'm good for, is keeping your glass full.
Right? Yeah, so during the little break there, we were kind of chatting about different types of travel. I know, Sarah, you like more of the vacation, kind of relaxing, sitting on the beach.
Get
sort of
away from
thing.
life and mom duties, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And someone like me, I like to go and really get immersed in the history and the culture and
Yeah,
go
you
to
travel
all the
for
museums.
purpose. Yeah, for sure.
Which I know is definitely not everyone's cup of tea, but so yeah, what have you really gotten out of being able to take those breaks from normal life? Like
that they're
how's
needed.
That helped you? Yeah.
That they're definitely needed. Like I said, it was nice in Miami. I could go and I could take a nap. We could just lay on the beach and just have absolutely no schedule. And that's what we did down when going to Miami. We said, like, we're not planning anything until we get down there. If we want to go on a charter fishing thing, like, we'll book it when we get down there if there's even openings. And if there's not, then it wasn't meant to be. So, and that was really nice. Like, here being a mom, I'm on a schedule. I have to I have to be up by a certain time. Kids have to be out the door by a certain time. I have to pick them up by a certain time, feed them by a certain time, get them to bed, blah, 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 blah. And so over there, if I wanted to go to bed at 7 o'clock in the evening, I could. Or if I wanted to stay up until midnight, I could. So,
so it's nice to get away from that rigid schedule and just kind of go with the flow.
For sure. But I also feel like humans are, like, they need to be on a schedule. So coming back, like, a week was a long time. It was a good chunk of time, but coming back, it was nice to, like, come back to my schedule and my routine and get back in the swing of things, for sure. But
would you say, like, those vacations are kind of a nice reset?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely push the reset button.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to look at it.
Do you think you said a week was kind of long. Do you think there's, like, a amount of time that's too long to take from a normal life?
I mean, I hear people going on cruises for 14 days, and we have some older friends here that they go to Hawaii for the entire month of February.
Oh, wow.
Which they're older, they're retired, they don't have the... the
little bit different situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And good for them. They go to the same place. They stay in the same room. The people there know them by name. They've been doing it for years now. And so that's great for them. And hopefully I can get to that stage when I'm their age. You know what I mean? But for now, like, a week was more than enough time. Like 5 days even would be okay. But it just depends on how far you're going, too. Because if you have to waste an entire day of travel, it's kind of not worth it to only stay 5 days, because really you only get 3 days to play then. But, my husband and I also were talking about taking a red eye next time, so hopefully we can sleep on the way there and then wake up and have, all the time. We get an extra day, really, instead of wasting it to travel. But, I
always go back and forth on the red eyes. On the one hand, it's like, yes, you get all that extra time, but on the other hand, it's like, you're really not comfortable sleeping on the plane.
If you even get to
tired.
sleep. Yeah. I do agree with that too.
Yeah, but I go back and forth on that for sure.
Yeah. But, I definitely don't recommend red eyes with the kids, with the babies, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
That was, I mean, they did fall asleep on the plane, but, like, leaving at 11 o'clock or something like that, I think we did, from Hawaii. Like, they were just absolutely exhausted in the airport, and I would let them take a little cat nap, but then I had to wake them up and get them on the plane, and so I don't really recommend the red eyes for the kiddos. But
that's pretty tough from Hawaii too. Aren't most of the flights red eyes to get back to?
I honestly don't even know. That was,
I feel like that's what I remember.
At least 3 years ago. So yeah,
that's tough. I know there's been some times for me personally where it's either a really early flight or a really late flight, and I'm just exhausted and, like, trying to stay awake, and, like, all I want to do is sleep, but I got to get to the airport and make sure I get on the plane and
get to where you're staying, everything like that. Yeah, definitely. I know. And in January, I'm the baby and I are going to go down to Arizona, and we fly out of Yakima at what is it, like that
5 or 6
5
a.m.
Yeah, I think it's like a 6 a.m. flight. And I'm hoping that, since I have to wake her up so early, that it'll be like perfect timing that she'll just take like a super early nap that day on the plane. But who knows? We'll see how it goes. But yeah.
Any fun trips planned in the coming year?
Just to go down to Arizona. That's not really a fun one, though. It's not vacation. I'm going down to visit my cousin. They just had, he just had his second set of twins.
Second set of twins.
Second set of twins, yeah. And so I'm just going to go down and help them with childcare for a little bit. But I think my husband and I are making it an annual thing that we go down to Miami every October. So I'm going to get online here hopefully before the end of the year and see if they have any flights yet for October. So last time I looked, they didn't. Yeah. But other than that, I don't know. We might be going to New Orleans.
Yeah, we better do that.
Together, so that would be fun.
That'd be a good time. From what I've heard, it's a really fun city. One that I haven't got to experience yet. So
yeah, me neither.
Make that happen.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea.
Probably drink lots of wine while we're on that
trip. Yeah, I'll drink lots of wine on any trip I'm on. So.
Yeah.
For sure.
Anything else? Any other advice or tips that you want to tell people?
Just to stay calm with your kids. I feel like your kids feed off your energy. So if you're all stressed out and worked up, they're probably going to be pretty anxious as well. But if you're just calm, cool, and collected, like they probably will be too. So lots of snacks. Don't let anybody get hangry.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I guess one more question on that. Do you typically bring snacks with you?
Yes.
When you're flying?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't buy it at the airport?
No. I try and pack whatever I think that the littles will want. And it goes through security and everything just fine.
Yeah.
So I've never had an issue.
Yeah, but that's smart. One less thing to think about while you're in the airport.
Well, yeah, because if you have a flight that lands at 5 or 6 o'clock, most places are already closed, or they're closing, and there might be
especially
one.
now with COVID.
Yeah, and there might be like one place open, which there was a McDonald's that was open. I think at I don't remember what time it was, like 10 or something like that at night. But other than that, the entire airport was closed. So. Just be prepared for that you might not be able to buy snacks or food at the airport, depending on your flight time too. So,
yeah, that's been one I've become a lot more aware of in the last couple of years flying. Is because of COVID, the hours are a lot weirder with places in the airports.
Yep.
And so you definitely want to plan ahead for making sure that you get a meal at a normal time that you would get a meal or have snacks ready, because you might get to your destination and everything's closed.
Yep, for sure. I know I always try and travel with at least like 2 or 3 protein bars. Yeah. Something that both the kids and I would like, just in case, so.
Yeah, definitely. I think having like a protein bar, granola bars or something with you, always a good way to go.
Yep.
Even if you're not flying.
Yeah, for sure. That is actually a true story. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, we'll wrap this up here, but Sarah, thanks for taking time out of your day to do this.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely have a lot of respect for you as a mom who's traveled, and super glad that we could drink some wine and talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
It's good.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Bye, everyone.